Hello everyone, this is Sunny coming to you with Cozen, a bloody painter extruded by a poisonous lie. We're going to be starting off with Chapter 12. Ban got up from his seat and started to scan the floor to see if the watch was dropped somewhere. Maggie was trying her best to also look for the watch as she comforted Judy. You tried to ignore the whole thing as you looked at Tom and Aiden messing around until Ban finally got close to you. You furrowed your eyebrows, confused as to why he suddenly got close to your seat. He didn't seem to notice your eyes on him since he was so focused on looking for that watch. Then something caught his eyes as you saw his eyebrows rise almost to his hairline. "What's this?" he asks as he crouches down and quickly grabs a bag, Helen's bag. This gained Helen's attention as he turned his head to look down at Ban. He also looked confused as his hand tried to reach back for his bag, but Ban quickly pulls it away from his reach and takes out something shiny from it. Judy's watch. Judy's face changed from worried to a relieved one, the corners of her mouth tugging up to show a big smile, happy that Ban found her watch. "Hey, that's my watch," she says as she walks up to him and takes the watch carefully. Ban smiled a bit, but then his smile turned into a frown as he looked down at Helen. He drops the bag to the floor harshly. Helen didn't say anything as he looked at Ban in the corner of his eye, his hand holding his pencil in place where his sketchbook was, his lips parted, trying to get a few words out and keep on drawing after. "It wasn't me." That was all he said before he went back to drawing. Judy didn't seem to believe it, her face showing anger and hatred at Helen. "Yeah, right." She scoffs and turns around, her brown, long hair following her movements. Ban was still standing, looking at Helen in a way you never did before. You look in the corner of your eye where Tom and Aiden were, and Tom seemed to be the only one paying attention to what just happened. He furrowed his eyebrows and looked at you confused, and you just shrugged. You were getting worried if this was going to affect Helen. But now a question was swirling around your mind as you looked at him. Why did he have the watch in his bag? It was finally lunchtime, and you started to look for Helen right after you got your lunch, though you were stopped by Tom, who grabbed you by your shoulders and looked at you with a worried face. "Why, and who are you looking for?" You tilted your head. "I'm looking for Helen, of course," you answer. "Why are you asking?" "I don't know. If I were you, I wouldn't look for him, not after what he did," he says as he lets go of you. You should stay away from him. Who knows what else he'll do? He scratches the back of his head. "Meet me with Aiden in the back of the school, and I'll tell you more stuff that you need to know." You blinked a couple of times before Tom walked away. Why is he suddenly getting like this? You shook your head and you still looked for Helen anyways. That's just not him to be stealing stuff. "This is not the first time he's done this," Tom says as he takes a bite of his orange chicken. "I have seen him steal a lot of stuff. He was just lucky he didn't get caught until now." As he was talking to you, turned to Aiden, who looked just as surprised as you were. "Why didn't you say anything before?" you ask. "There was no way Helen steals. It just puts a sour taste in your mouth to hear those words from Tom." "Who would believe a loser like me?" he asks and points his finger at himself. "They would say that I'm accusing a nice and quiet kid who does nothing but scribble in his little book," he says in a mocking way as he rolls his eyes. "I would get beat way more than I actually do." "But that's just so sudden of you to say," Aiden says, but instantly gets cut off from when Tom throws him a dirty glare. "Sorry." He quickly turns away from him and starts to quickly stuff his face with food to get away from saying anything else. You look down at your food. Nothing made sense. Helen was nothing but a reserved kid. He didn't seem to care about anyone's stuff or anything. He was in his own little world, doodling away like always. Tom gets up and leaves his food with Aiden. "Take care of this for me. I'm going to the restroom," he says and walks away. You scuttle towards Aiden and try to speak softly in case someone was near. "Hey, Aiden, do you really think Helen is the type to do that?" Aiden looks at you with his mouth still full of chicken, but he shakes his head. He also seemed to be in disbelief, and he quickly swallowed his food and looks at you. "I don't think so. It's weird." You sigh and look away from Aiden. I don't know how I feel bad, but that won't stop me from talking to Helen." Aiden gives you a worried look and puts a hand on your shoulder. "Just be careful. If the others see you talking to him, they're going to start more rumors about you." "I don't care," you say and turn to him. "They can say whatever they want about me, but they're not going to finish a friendship because of that." Aiden looked at you with wide eyes. He pulls his hand away and smiles a little. "I wish I could be like you, honestly," he says with a hint of wanting to laugh. "You're really brave." You ruffled Aiden's hair playfully. As much as you tried to stop thinking about it and your mind kept it there, still talking loudly for everyone to hear it, it just didn't add up. You need to talk to Helen. Chapter 13. You get up from the ground, which made Aiden stop chewing on his food. He swallowed his food quickly so he could ask before you leave. "Hey, you're not going to eat anymore?" You turn to him, shake your head. "No, I'm going to look for Helen. You can keep the food if you want." Aiden only looked at you surprised and the food. He didn't say anything as he only kept looking at your food. You didn't say anything else and made your way to look for Helen, your eyes scanning every place to see if the black-haired boy was anywhere around here, but nothing. You sighed as he kept walking, hoping to find him on time before lunch was over. What was all that back there? You asked. You were lucky enough to find Helen. He was inside the school, just away from the cafeteria, sitting under the stairs of the school. Though he was more silent than usual, and it started to worry you that he wanted to stay away from you. He moves a bit to sit a little closer to you and looks at you with his tired eyes. I don't know, never expected that to happen. After that response, he didn't say anything, silence between you and him filling the air as the chatter of students from the cafeteria could be heard softly in the background. You look at Helen and put your hand on his shoulder. I don't believe that you stole that watch. That startled Helen, but that was enough for him to calm down. He was more than happy to know that you were sure he didn't put that watch in his bag, and hopefully it stays that way. Hours passed, and instead of spending time with Tom and Aiden, you decided to spend it on Helen. As classes started, all you received were glances and whispers, but you quickly ignored them. Your focus only on Helen as he kept talking about his day, a small smile showing relief, and paid no mind to his classmates staring at him. There was no way these rumors would ruin what you already had with Helen. He was too nice for him to do such a thing, and you made sure to keep it that way no matter what your friends or classmates said. Until a few days passed, it started with a few rumors, and then it went to students walking up to Helen and purposely asking him dumb questions, and then it went to smacking him in the head. Your classmates just threw a few glances at you, but they didn't pay that much attention to you, as he seemed to have found a new toy to play with. The only thing Helen could do was lower his head as his cold blue eyes stared at his attackers. You looked at Tom with worried eyes, but he seemed to pay no mind, ignoring you as he just went to stare at his notebook. And then your eyes shifted to Aiden, only for him to give you a look of pity, then look down. Your eyebrows furrowed, frustrated that your friends didn't want to help you. You turned to Helen, who was already staring at you, a look that you never saw on him, such a soft look that made you feel guilty for not helping him. You only forced a smile, a fake smile, to at least cheer Helen up. And luckily, he did smile back, but then he quickly turned his head away as another student passed by. This was a rough week for Helen. All those classmates that used to ask for answers or to draw them something suddenly turned against him, leaving him completely alone and stabbing his back in a snap of a finger. He didn't care. He was fine as long as you still kept in mind that he wasn't the one who stole that watch. Tom, stop. You yell out his name. Classes ended, and Tom was the first one to get you out of the class as fast as he could, and as always, Aiden tailing behind him. He froze a little, but still kept walking, trying to ignore your calls. After all those rumors started, Tom has been ignoring for a few days, and so was Aiden, but he failed miserably at it. Tom, we need to talk, you yell out, and luckily you reached him and quickly stepped in front of him. Why are you ignoring me all of a sudden? You looked at both of them for an answer, but nothing. Aiden tried so hard to not look you in the eye, as if some sort of guilt was going on in him. But Tom finally stepped up and opened his mouth to answer, his face showing anger as soon as he made eye contact with you. Want to know why, Wyan? He asks in a defensive tone. You've been hanging out with someone who has done nothing but steal things, he yells out, bringing attention. You look at Tom in disbelief. What do you mean he steals things? He hasn't done... But it seemed like Tom wasn't done as he cuts you off. He stepped closer to you, trying to shatter your figure, trying to dominate you with his height. I warned you weeks ago. You're just defending a thief because you like him. You stayed silent, your face burning hot in anger. This wasn't the Tom you knew days ago, and the way he was acting made your blood boil. Stay away from me and Aiden. Get bullied all you want since you want so much trouble, he says and walks past you. Come on, Aiden. Stay away from Wyan unless you want trouble too. Aiden stays stilled. Another look of pity in his eyes as he looked at you. Though before he walked away, he quickly takes a piece of paper out of his pocket and grabs your hand gently and puts the paper on the palm of your hand. And just with that, he walks away, following Tom like a puppy. You couldn't even finish your argument with him. He just left you with so many students having their eyes on you as they walked past you, leaving the school. What if they were actually right about Helen? That is the end of that chapter. The chapter after that one is chapter 14. Let me know what you guys thought about that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until next time, bye-bye.